muted and I'm speaking myself. Okay. So this is a very simple way I will explain, not in this much way. Okay, just a very simple way. Guys, what is DHCP? DHCP is a protocol. DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol it is. Okay. So look at here. I have a server or a PC or a computer or a device which connects to the network. It is connected to a network. Okay. Meaning is you are in a network means you must have an IP address. You are in the network means you must have an IP address. I'm going to ncpa.cpl. So I will open the network connections. Okay. So you have a device and there is you are connected to network means to communicate in the network you need an IP address. Okay. So it is having certain IP address. This IP address I can assign manually or I will get automatically. So it is IPv4 properties. This IP address assigned manually. So to assign manually, you have to select second option, use the following IP address and give IP address according to your network, your current local network, you have to give IP address. I'm giving an IP address here is like this, like a 10.0.0. something 12. So I'm giving an IP address. And remaining details, like I will give my default gateway. If in case I have a default gateway, then I will give my default gateway. If I have a DNS server, then I will give my DNS server. Okay. So like that, if I have a default gateway, I will give default gateway. If I have a DNS server, then I will give DNS server. Okay. So IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, prefer DNS server address is there. So IP address is there now. So yeah, I given IP address manually. So how to give IP address manually? Go to adapter, double click or right click, status or directly properties. You can go. Or if it is status is open, then go to properties, select IPv4 version means Internet Protocol version 4, then properties, select second option, use following IP address. Okay, use following IP address. Okay, so this is how to give IP address manually. Okay, now think about it, guys. Understand how to give IP address manually?
Yes.
Okay, very good. For example, guys, you have a multiple computers in the network, like maybe 10 computers are there. You have to go to each and every computer and assign an IP address. 10 computers, not a big deal. 20 computers, not a big deal. 50 computers, maybe it is little deal. 100 computers, 200 computers, 400 computers. So whenever the network sizes increases, number of devices increases, it is difficult to assign an IP address for each and every device. So you have to follow a map setting like this device, this kind of IP address, this row, this kind of IP address. You have to calculate and assign an IP address. So it is very difficult to assign an IP address to individual machines if in case a large number of devices are there. The second one is while you are typing, there is a possibility of mistakes. For example, I want to put a 10 here. By mistake, I put 100. Maybe I want to put a here something 21. By mistake, I given 1, 2. Okay. So sometimes it is happen, sometimes it may not give certain problem, sometimes you will get a problem. Now you can give 10 dot, 100 dot, 21 dot, 12. Okay. So by mistake, by typing, so you may enter mistakes. Okay. Second one is conflicts. Conflict means if more than one PC, means this PC IP address, this PC IP address is same IP address. Both network and host versions, both are same. Both are maintaining same IP address. Meaning is, so if anyone want to communicate to these PCs or these PCs are communicating, they cannot communicate. Why? Because of while PCs are communicating each other, that time they will get confused. I'm sending a packet to this PC or this PC. There is a confusion. Okay, that is called a conflict. So if you have a like one or more device, more than two devices having a two or more devices having same IP address, then conflict will be generated. So if you are 100 computers are there, you are entering IP address to each and every PC. There is a possibility of conflicts and entering wrong IP address. Let's understand this second reason, possibility of wrong IP addresses and conflicts.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So manually configuration, and it is a burden to the person who is entering these IP addresses. If more devices are there, there is a possibility of entering wrong IP addresses, and it may generate certain. Sometimes it will generate a conflict because of two or more devices having same IP addresses. Okay. The third one is different devices are there nowadays, right? Not only a computer, laptop. We are using a mobile phone, tablets, right? TVs, and this Alexa, Google Home, smart printers, Wi-Fi printers. Different devices are there in the in a network. Okay, different type of devices we can able to connect in the network. But how to give IP address to these devices? I showed how to give IP address to an adapter in a computer or a desktop. You can give like this. But how to give IP address to other devices? Do we know? That is the problem. So another problem is not everyone knows how to give IP address, right? I know how to give IP address. Some of you know how to give IP address. Maybe earlier you may not seen the IP address part also, right? Now, but nowadays everyone using internet, right? Everyone using internet. Either it is a 4G network or Wi-Fi network, whatever it is, they are using network and internet. They need to access. They don't need to worry about how to assign an IP address. Okay. So different devices, it's very difficult to assign an IP address. Different type of people don't know how to assign IP address also. Okay. So mainly these three reasons. One is a burden. Second one is possible wrong IP addresses or conflicts. Another one is different type of devices. It's very difficult to assign an IP address, and lot of people don't know how to assign a IP address. There is a fourth reason is there. If you understand first three, the fourth one is very simple, guys. Now today I'm in a home. I have my Wi-Fi router in my home, so I am getting an IP address from there. So my adapter is configured with that IP address. Okay. Today in my home, in my network, so I got some IP address I'm utilizing. Good. Monday I will go to office, right? Monday I go to office. So my office having a network. When I connected to that network, so that network DHCP server will give me an IP address. So I have an IP address. So that will be IP address to my adapter. I have an IP address is configured. That IP address will be changed once I go to my office. For example, I go to my hometown. Their different network. So when I connect it to that network, I will get different IP address. The same adapter, but different IP addresses. Okay, because it is dynamic mode. In case I assign a static IP address to my adapter, in case my IP address is static IP, no problem, it is working here, static IP is working. But I go to office, when office, different type of network, different logical addressing is there. So my IP address is not updating according to my office. Here I have an IP address, good, but if I go to office, the IP address should be updated according to office network. It not updated because it is static. Okay, so static IP address or manual IP address are same. Okay, I hope you got the point. Next one, guys, if you want to get an IP address from DHCP server, you have to select this option. You want to get an IP address from DHCP server, select first options. Obtain IP address automatically, obtain IP address automatically, obtain DNS error automatically. In this mode, your client PC do not have any IP address. In this mode, your client PC do not have any IP address. This is your PC. You are not having any IP address because of obtain IP address automatically from DHCP server it is. So here in my network, I have a DHCP server. I have this DHCP server is there in my network. My client will search for where is this DHCP server. The client will search, try to discover where is the DHCP server. Listen carefully. The client is trying to discover where is the DHCP server. Once DHCP server received that packet, yes, it will tell I am the DHCP server. It will tell I am the DHCP server. Do you want any IP address? I have an IP address. Do you want it? Okay. I have an IP address. Do you want it? That kind of offer will give it to this client. Again, client will say yes, I want that IP address. It send a request. I want that IP address. Then server will send an acknowledgement to the client. Take this IP address configuration. Okay. So it will send an acknowledgement. Based on the acknowledgement, the client IP address will be. So this is called a DORA process. D means discover, O means offer, request, acknowledgement. Discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. Okay. So client discovers, server offers, client request, server send an acknowledgement. So this is the story, but don't worry. My point is client need an IP address. It try to find DHCP server and get that IP address from DHCP server. Okay, very simple point. Okay, so when you choose obtain IP address automatically, when you close OK kind of stuff, then what happened? This adapter understand it does not contain any IP address. It send a request to the DHCP server connected to the adapter and find out the DHCP server and get the IP address from DHCP server. If you see DHCP enabled yes means you got IP address from this particular DHCP server. Okay, so once again we'll read guys static and dynamic. What in the dynamic you will get an IP address from DHCP server. So you don't need to go to each and every PC to assign an IP address. Just put a DHCP server and configure the range. Configure the range like this. And configure range 1.10 to 1.110. 100 PCs will get an IP address in this range. Okay. So this DHCP server, through DHCP server, these devices are getting IP address. But CPC is manually configured, so then CPC is not getting IP address. CPC manually configured, so CPC don't get IP address from DHCP server. Remaining A, B, D are DHCP clients obtain IP address automatically. So they will get IP address from DHCP server. What is the advantage of using DHCP server? Okay, so you have a large number of computers or devices, they will get IP address without wrong array conflicts. Without wrong array conflicts kind of stuff. Different type of devices like a smart TVs, printers, Alexa, these kind of devices, right? So they'll get IP address very easily. They will configure with an IP address very easily. Okay. So people don't require to know what is a DHCP, what is an IP address and how to configure IP address. You know, a lot of people think so their mobile phones and laptops already configured the IP address by the manufacturer. No. Okay. So because of why we are thinking, because you generally lot of people don't check what is their IP address, how their IP address is configured. They don't put that mind in it. But everybody knows there is an IP address. Okay, these IP addresses are configured to your devices, whether it is mobile phone or tablet or laptop or desktop, from DHCP servers automatically. Okay, so everybody not required to learn how to assign an IP address. Different devices we can give IP addresses. Okay, so you change the network. Like I am connected here, I got an IP address from my DHCP server when I connected to my office. When I went to my office, when I connected to office network, their DHCP server give me an IP address. So you don't need to worry about a changing of IP address, because based on that network, their DHCP server give us an IP address. Okay. So you configured IP address manually means it's a static IP address. You configured an IP address. You got an IP address automatically means it's a dynamic IP address. Guys, most of the time, so we think where is this DHCP servers? In our home, because in our home also, our home devices also getting an IP address. These DHCP servers, you can install a Windows server for DHCP server. You can take a Windows server for a DHCP server. You can take Linux servers for a DHCP server. Most of the time in our home, our Wi-Fi router is act like a DHCP server. So already we discussed that one. I think so. Which batch I didn't remember, but your Wi-Fi router will do. It is work like a modem. It work like a wireless access point, and as well as a router. Okay. In other hand, it is also a default gateway plus it is a DHCP server. DHCP server and client use a DORA process to get an IP address. The client send a discover packet server. Whenever the server receives, it will give IP offer to client. The client request for an IP address, and finally DHCP server send an acknowledgement to get configured. Okay, this is already we explained automatic manual kind of stuff. There is a small point in DHCP, guys. You have a PC and you are connected in the network. Okay, so you check the IP address of your device. It is showing 169.254. It is a API address, automatic private IP address. So your adapter, when it is in obtain IP address automatically mode, means you should get IP address from DHCP server. In case DHCP server is down or you are unable to get IP address from DHCP server, Your system will assign an IP address from APIPA range, means 169.254 range. So your system is, means your adapter is configured with a 169.254. Meaning is your adapter unable to get IP address from DHCP server. Okay. So first of all, check the DHCP server, make sure it is working, connectivity. Okay. Check the connectivity and are you getting an IP address or not? Your DHCP is good now and it is giving an IP addresses and connectivity is also good, but still your IP address is not changing from 169.2.254 to other IP addresses. Simply disable and enable the adapter or use the command line ipconfig release and ipconfig renew. I told very fastly. If you don't get it, no problem. But remember this APIPA name and APIPA address. And what is, if you are unable to get IP address from DHCP server, okay, system assign in an IP address from APIPA range. Guys, are you okay up to now? DHCP okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you got a question, what is DHCP? DHCP Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So DHCP server assign an IP address to the client machine automatically. Okay. So we can assign an IP address to a machine manually or automatically. So manually we can assign an IP address, but number of devices increases. It's very difficult to assign IP address. So DHCP server based on the range. Okay, so it give IP address to multiple devices, and DHCP server reduce the conflicts and wrong IP address thing. Different devices we are using in the network, so those devices also get an IP address from your DHCP server. Okay, so everybody is not required to know what how to assign an IP address, and you can use your DHCP server to get an IP address.
Sir?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, sir, I have a question. Like, sir, who assigns the IP addresses, the range of IP addresses to these DHCP servers? Like DHCP server is
The admin.
also inbuilt in a router as well, right?
Right. So same answer, but two parts I have to tell. Okay, so in generally you are in an organization, so mostly the administrator is there, no, who is looking
Yes, sir.
after network administrator. He will decide based on the number of devices. He will decide the DHCP IP address range. Okay, that is the first thing. Range. Second one is you have your Wi-Fi router, but who given this the range in the Wi-Fi router? Yeah, by default, what are the router you purchase? By default, inside there is a range, prefixed range is there. If you want, you can change it, but be careful when you are changing the ranges. Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
yeah,
Thanks, sir.
some we will get it. I'm getting an IP address here. 192.168.1.29, because my router is configured like that 192.168.1 dot something, that one series. Okay, 192.168.1 series is there. Some places 192.168.100 dot, in some places 2 dot, some places 0 dot. Okay, so it means depends upon the router and the pre-configuration, the by default configuration we are getting. That is generally, if in case you know how to go inside your Wi-Fi router, you want to change these ranges, also you can do it. But compulsory you have to change based on the default gateway also. Both should be default gateway and your IP address scope or range must be in the same network.
Okay.
Okay. So for today, this is the DNS is last one, guys. Okay. So you learn a lot of things in single day. If I told plus Outlook and VPN, if you forget what I told in starting, that is very very dangerous. So I already shared both the links. Please go through once, or you can watch any other places also. But what is Outlook? What is VPN? Find out at least 3-4 sentences for each. Basic details is enough. Okay. In here, this is a DNS, guys. Domain name system. Port number is 53. You know, in AWS, there is a service called Route 53. What is Route 53 in AWS? It is a DNS service. Okay, so don't forget that.
Database.
No, no, it is not a database. Route 53 is a DNS service, not a database service. RDS is a database service. Okay, so what is this domain name system? So just before we discuss something about a domain, okay, and a domain name, okay, guys, I will show you one thing. See, can you see this is youtube.com? No, no, no. This www.youtube.com. This is studio.youtube.com. This is docs.google.com. Under that one, presentations. This is also docs.google.com document. Microsoft, www.sns.com. If you take this sheet, then it shows in different ways. What is November XLS? I didn't see this kind of stuff. Okay, this is a different sheet, but this is SharePoint.com. I will show you Gmail, mail.google.com. See, it is mail.google.com. This is devocs.google.com. This is Meet. No, 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 no. That is learn.microsoft.com. So that is also good. This is meet.google.com. Meet.google.com. See, it is google.com become common, but Meet different services. DOCS different. Mail different services. Okay. Okay. So what is this kind of stuff, guys? Different servers or machines in the domains. Okay. The naming is like that. Different servers in a domain. So each server or a device, for example, my device is also there, right? Having an IP address. For example, I want to communicate mail.google.com. So that server having an IP address, right? I want to access www.google.com. That server having an IP address. devocs.google.com. That is another server. It is having an IP address. Okay. Now I want to communicate to this things like a www.google.com, facebook.com, youtube.com, but I don't know their IP addresses. So what I will do, I open a web browser and I type a google.com or facebook.com or youtube.com or devocs.google.com, meet.google.com or a mail.google.com. So what will happen? You don't know the IP address. So what your system will understand and see this one. So where is this? And can you see here is a DNS server address. This is the DNS server address. So your browser, your system will send a request to the DNS server. Send a request to the DNS server and asking, I want an IP address of this particular www.google.com. So your DNS server search and find it out. Finally, it got the www.google.com IP address and give it to you. This is what DNS server means. DNS server, in DNS server, it maps the name to IP addresses. You need an IP address of particular host. Host means a machine or a server. Host means a machine or a server or a domain server like that. Okay. So you want like a meet.google.com or a facebook.com or a youtube.com, studio.youtube.com, www.youtube.com. Okay. You need an IP address, then DNS server, check the name and return you an IP address. With an IP address, we can able to communicate it to that one. In general explanation purpose and example purpose, we'll give an example is mobile phone contact list. Before that point, guys, remember always all communications by IP address only. If you know IP address, we can communicate. If you don't know IP address, you cannot communicate. So what we are doing, we go to DNS server and get an IP address of particular server or a domain name or a URL kind of stuff. Different setting is there, guys. HTTP colon slash slash www.google.com. It is a URL. URL. Resource location. Resource location or a resource locator. Resource locator or resource location. HTTP colon or HTTPS colon slash slash www.google.com. But www.google.com is a server, a host or a server name it is. Google.com is domain name. Okay. .com is a top level domain. Okay. There's so many things are there, so don't worry. You don't know IP address of particular facebook.com or youtube.com. System send a request to DNS server. DNS server will return IP address of that facebook.com or youtube.com, whatever it is. Okay, so you got an IP address, so you can communicate with the IP address. Why this is example? Mobile phone contact list. Example for DNS server is there. So how? I want to call someone. So I cannot remember all phone numbers and their names and phone numbers. Difficult to remember, right? So I can remember my main phone number. Secondary phone number I can't remember. So one or two, my father phone number, my mother phone number, sister phone number. Like 4 or 5 phone numbers I can able to remember, but I cannot remember more phone numbers. So what I will do? I'll create a contact list. Like a Sai sir there, Madhu sir is, Revan sir is there. So I want to communicate. I have to communicate. So what I will do in my mobile, I'll create a contact list, name and a phone number. Now, for example, on Monday I have to confirm mission. So then I have to call to Revan sir. So what to do? Go to contact list, select a Revan sir name and click on dial button. Call goes to phone number only. Okay, because of this Airtel, all people, these people are there, no? They don't know your names. They will call you numbers, right? So we'll call with the numbers only. They will with the entire communication with the phone number. Same way in a globally we are communicating through IP addresses only. Okay, so this is a small explanation about DNS. DNS, domain name system. DNS server maps name to IP addresses. DNS. So what is the use of DNS server? So you don't know the IP address of certain things. You ask a DNS server, it will give you a IP address of it. Give some example explanation also. Okay, guys, take a Google example, Facebook example, YouTube.com example. I open a www.youtube.com. I don't know IP address of www.youtube.com. Okay, so my system send a request to the youtube.com, request to the DNS server to my local DNS server. DNS server returns an IP address of www.youtube.com. Now I got an IP address, so I can able to communicate. So here I means system. You don't do it physically or directly. You don't do anything. I don't do anything. You don't do anything. Okay. Okay, that's it. See, here it is. I'm pinging to google.com. First, I got an IP address of google.com. Then I'm communicating. Guys, there is a deep explanation is also there. I'm not going. Okay. FUDN, fully qualified domain, means it's a combination of your host name and domain name called a fully qualified domain name. And this is a subdomain. See, .com, .contoso.com is a secondary level domain. .com is a .com, .net, .org are a top level domains, and contoso.com means it's a secondary level domains. What is sub level domains? So sub part is there: south.contoso.com, west.contoso.com. Host name is server 1, and name is server1.sales.south.contoso.com kind of stuff. Big one. Originally, it works like this. So mail1.contoso.com from client. This is the client. Client want an IP address of mail1.contoso.com. It is asking their local DNS server. Who is your DNS server by default? By generally in our networks. So this is my DNS server. My local DNS server is this one. And who is this? Anyway, is my DHCP server. Sorry. So DHCP server address, DNS server address, default address is same, means it is your Wi-Fi router only. Okay. So I ask my local DNS server, I want an IP address of mail1.contoso.com. So what my local DNS server do? It returns IP address of mail1.contoso.com to my client, to my PC. And whatever that happens further means from local DNS server to other, it is a big story like this. Okay. So ask my local DNS server, I want a IP address of docs.microsoft.com, and I got an IP address of docs.microsoft.com. That's it. But guys, remember, your local DNS server means your router does not have any records. Okay, it has to search in the hierarchical manner. So DNS is a very big hierarchical structure. It has to search. But I'm not telling that story because I know you are already getting headaches. Thanks. Okay, guys, any people having a time or want to check, please check this thing also. Different storages. Okay, but today for you this is enough, guys. DHCP. What is DHCP? Very simple way. Tell. What is DNS? Very simple lines. Use the simple lines. Practice so you can able to tell an answer. Always remember, guys, if you practice, you can present best. If you listen and leave it, that time the word or sentence construction become little difficult. Okay, so that is very important. Okay. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for cooperating since full day class. Okay, I don't know
Thank
how
you,
many
sir.
people are
Thank you,
late.
sir.
Thank you, guys.
Very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank you,
everyone,
sir.
guys.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, all the best.
Thank
Sir,
you, sir.
now sir, can you take my attendance?
I didn't take anyone's attendance today. I told only people who want
Hello.
to say they will do it.
Sir, when is the technical test?
Technical test. I don't know. I think so. Ninth batch, some people completed version. Okay, people who cleared a version, they are going to they will attend this technical interview, and others also in the line right now are
Yes, sir.
okay. And ninth batch is today last. Okay, Monday 10th batch. Last okay, guys. 10th batch, which is afternoon batch, continue from Monday. Continuation is there. Okay, from afternoon batch, N10 batch, continuation afternoon, same continuation next week. Full continuation is there. Next week classes is there for Noida 10th batch. Noida 9th batch. Today is the last class, guys. So prepare well. Any doubts, put it in a group. Okay. If you need any question, answer kind of stuff, ask your friends, those who are attending a technical interview. So ask their questions. So then also then put it in a group. So we can, and already I shared question and answers, which is shared by Sai sir only. Okay. Sai sir shared to me. I shared the questions and answers. Please go through it. Okay. So be ready, be prepared. So all the best for
Sir,
a
in
night.
the sir, in the WhatsApp groups,
Sir,
only admin can send the message.
So who is speaking? I don't understand.
sir, those
Sir, in
students
the
are not
WhatsApp
crack
group, only
percentage. They will not
admin
allow
can
for
send the
tackle round.
message.
Yeah, first percentage not clear, technical not allowed. I think so. You can clear up with that one with your sir. Okay, who is your? I don't
Okay.
have what your WhatsApp group. What is that
Okay.
WhatsApp group thing?
Sir, in version tests, 60% is
Yeah,
pass out of